After a full week off to nurse those wounds handed out by Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry game, a defeat which ended Texas' undefeated start of the season with a brutal final second touchdown drive from the Sooners to hand them the win in that game. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Texas can rebound ahead of this one and cover a considerable double-digit spread here against the conference rival in Houston this weekend. To be fair, that's something Texas has been fairly accomplished at already this year. Covering both of their road games this season to date by pretty convincing margins as well, 14.5 and 16.5 points respectively. So another blowout for the Longhorns here certainly wouldn't go against the grain, especially given Texas's prolific offense this season. The Longhorns already proved last year that suffering a loss before a bye week isn't all that detrimental either, especially considering their one uncovered against Kansas State last year's road favorites after suffering a straight-up loss against Oklahoma State in their previous game before the bye. But that said, this is a much bigger letdown spot for the Longhorns this weekend. As Texas was not only undefeated heading into that rivalry game against Oklahoma, they also ranked top 10 nationally as well. A ranking that hasn't changed ahead of this week's game, but one nonetheless that has immeasurably damaged their chances of a potential playoff berth heading into the second half of the season. For Houston, life hasn't been particularly kind to them in their first full season as a Big 12 member either. The Cougars haven't had a losing season since 2020 during that COVID-shortened schedule, but they've found life much tougher in the Big 12 this year. They needed a last-second Hail Mary pass from Donovan Smith last week to secure their first conference win of the season so far against West Virginia, and there really hasn't been that much to cheer for beyond that in terms of conference play this year for Houston. But, that said, despite those initial struggles for Houston, I'm expecting them to provide a ton of issues for this Longhorns defense this weekend. Cougars quarterback Donovan Smith leads the Big 12 in completions per game this year, and it's backed by a Houston offense that, they like to spread the ball around as well. 11 different players catching a pass in their two games prior to last week's win over West Virginia. So 22.5 points, at least the time of recording, is a huge spread here. And I certainly wouldn't want to be laying it here against, what to me is an underappreciated Houston offense. On top of that, we just don't know how motivated Texas will be for this one either. Get the win, fine, but to ask them to run up the scoreboard here by over 3 touchdowns, especially after coming off that soul-crushing last 15 seconds of the game loss against their biggest rivals in conference action, even with a full week to prepare here, I just couldn't lay that kind of number. So Houston for me, plus the points in this one on Saturday. I can see Donovan Smith doing some damage in this one, in all honesty, against the Longhorns pass defense that ranks 41st in the country this year in opponent passing first downs per game. So that'll do it from me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you want to get a full $30 off my 7-day all-access pass for this week only, use code 7PASS to take advantage of that, 7PASS. And don't forget, if you enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Make sure and subscribe down below. And for even more great betting previews, be sure to click on one of the other links posted on your screen right now.